I'd like to call to order the 1:00 p.m. meeting of the Town Trustees. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, this marks a momentous situation here. The first time we've met in public for, a year and a half almost now? March.
Remember that.
Yeah, we have to remember how to do it now. Okay, so will Secretary Treasurer Horowitz please call the roll?
Yes, sir. President Eric Schultz.
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Horowitz, I'm obviously here. Trustee Ed J. Warner Jr.
Present.
Trustee William Pell IV.
Present.
Trustee Ann Welker.
Here.
Okay,
President.
Okay.
A quorum.
great. Next work session is on Monday, August 2nd, 2021 at 9:30. And the next regularly scheduled meeting is on Monday, August 2nd at 1 p.m. So we have minutes acceptance. Make a motion that we accept the minutes of the Town Trustees for the regular meeting of June 21st, 2021 at 1 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for
So
having
carried.
those be so prompt.
Yeah, great job, Jessica.
Thank you.
Okay, first item on the agenda is discussions of a waterfowl hunting location permit number 275 in North Sea Harbor. I have several people I think want to speak on it. I'd like to step up to the podium and just give us your name for the record so we can record it on the minutes.
Sure. Mark Ribeiro, 42 Todd Point, Southampton.
Okay.
So first, thank you all for letting us talk to you a little bit about this. I'm here representing 5 different houses that all live in the Todd Point community. We haven't done an extensive campaign trying to rile people up. We're here just trying to get a better sense of what the regulations and rules are, and maybe understand how this one kind of might have slipped by. Some folks have been in their houses for 30, 40 years, and so have long ties to the neighborhood. And so, as I'm talking here, I don't know how this typically works. Do you want me to just kind of go through, and then
Yeah,
you
just
guys
go
just
through it,
kind
yeah.
of chime in?
Yeah.
Sure.
Nothing formal around here, just,
So I'm going to pass to you.
Jessica, do we have photos of the area?
Yeah, can we pull them up?
Yeah, I'd like you to do that, if you could. We'll put it on the screen.
So,
We did a little bit of preliminary research.
Okay.
Had some photos taken, so
Great.
it can be put up on the screen, so you can see what we're all talking
You have
about.
to give it to her. Just to stamp them in.
okay,
Yeah, she's going to bring them up.
these are all the same thing.
Thank you. Oh, they're all the same?
Yeah, I was just going to pass them out.
Sure.
You want to keep one?
I'll take one for the record. Thanks.
Oh, they're the same photos that she's going to basically
Maybe.
bring up? Oh,
This is just a land layout of the area. Just
Okay.
to get an idea of the properties here.
No, they're not.
And
okay.
so the little square here on the edge, that's where the current duck blind has been placed. And you can see the properties circled here, those are all within 250 feet. And so you have 10 houses within 250 feet, and you have 30 houses within 500 feet. So it's a pretty dense neighborhood. And I guess the next piece I just wanted to pass out.
Sorry, can you get the screens on?
Oh, okay.
I have a big one for you.
Thank you.
This is just a map of the current duck blinds in the North Sea area. And
Thanks.
as you can see in this, all of these locations, there isn't a single house within 500 feet of any of these blinds. And so, kind of as you can imagine, for a dense neighborhood, this is kind of something that we would have hoped we'd be protected from. And also, if you look at number 275, it's mislocated on that map. And so there's an arrow that points to where it is now, to where it's kind of located on that map. So I guess, for us, it's a bit of a shock to have gun shooting at 6 a.m. 180 feet from our bedroom windows. This is a highly dense neighborhood. And it's not clear to us what the distance proximity requirements are. But I will note that in your own letter, dated November 5th, the blind was rejected because of the proximity to other houses. So what I don't understand, or we don't understand, is if it was rejected, how did that later get trumped?
Well, we're going to have to talk to the Bay Constable about it, because I don't know whether it's exactly the same locations what you're talking about. It may have been moved or not, I'm not sure.
The,
It was moved?
That's what it was. He has it in his notes.
All right, we have,
Would you like me to read this into the record from the Bay Constables, the email?
That'd be helpful.
yes,
A
that would be
response?
helpful. Yes.
Okay.
And it's dated when?
June 19th of 2021, in response to multiple letters sent to the office, the Bay Constables replied, and I'm going to read it into the record. Good morning, all. We are in receipt of the copy draft petition from the Town Point Neighborhood Network. Last week, I was contacted by another area resident who resides at 54 Todd Point Road, and I spent approximately 45 minutes explaining to her and her son the rules and regulations pertaining to the duck blinds and hunting in the township. In response to the petition, the Bay Constables have answered any and all questions in regards to this registered location that we received. And I'm going to say that we have not been receiving complaints for months as stated in the petition. The blind is registered in good standing with the trustee's office and is currently on the registered blind holder's property, which he is well within his right to do so. Background history. The original permit was denied because the original application asked for another location. 1, faced in a different direction. 2, there was another blind registered to close off Noyak Road, which why it was denied initially. He then resubmitted in 2015/16 a revised application, which was then approved since it met all town, state, and trustee requirements and is still in compliance with all laws pertaining to waterfowl hunting and the 500-foot guideline, in which the Town Point Neighborhood Network is referencing. As far as the language written on the permit, they would have to ask the office staff on why they didn't write the entire description. Need anything else, please let me know. Thanks, Rich.
so what's the 500-foot guideline?
Well, it's 500 feet in your shooting range. You could be right
Got it.
up against a house and shoot technically from your lawn. If you had a spot, you
Yeah.
could shoot right from your bulkhead or whatever it is, right if your house is right there. It's facing out.
Yeah, I understand where it's facing, but at 6 a.m., I'm getting gunshots, like, it wakes you up in the morning, like, it
I
just...
know, but that's
It just
the tradition
doesn't-
out here.
Well, it's tradition, but nowhere else in the North Sea area do you have this.
But let me point out one thing.
Not
This
one-
is a floating duck blind. If he didn't have that duck blind under state regulations,
Yes.
and if he had it on a boat, a floating blind, and he moved it in there, he could shoot there under state regulations.
Look,
You can
he has
park
a
in front of it.
permanent duck blind here that's not even on this map.
No, I understand that, but if that was rejected, if that wasn't issued a spot, they could go down there with a floating blind, motor in, anchor, 5 feet offshore, and under state regulations, shoot waterfowl.
But that's not what we have here. What we have here is a permanent duck blind that was backed up. The guy doesn't want it in front of his own house because he doesn't like the view.
It isn't in front of his house?
Specifically stipulated that. The duck blind is technically not even on his property. It's off his property.
It's on his property, on
It's-
his dock. on
It's
his
not.
point.
It's not on his dock.
Let me talk, sir.
Sure.
I'll let you talk.
All right.
It's on the point. He used to keep it on off-season, he used to keep it on his dock and bring it back on the point.
Is this a representation of his house right now?
No,
This is his survey.
this survey is dated. It's not, he has an updated house and an updated waterfront. I should also mention that in his documents, he stipulates that he has a 250-foot area or frontage. He does not. So if he got any preferential treatment, because he has 250 feet or more, in 2015, when I believe there were a bunch of, regulations that you guys got rid of, right?
Yes.
The Blue Book? So
Changed them.
he was probably given preference under that, and he shouldn't have. So, that's right.
So it's around the point there.
His is.
Well, here's the aerial right here.
It's right there.
And where is which one is his property? That one to the south?
Right right there.
Yeah, why is it there instead of on his dock?
Yeah.
Or to move to his dock?
He usually move it to the dock on the off-season, but this year he decided to keep it there.
He's never put it on the spot until December of this year.
Yeah, he put it back there, then he takes it back and forth.
I haven't seen it. We've been here for 30, 40 years. He wasn't here in 2016, 17.
In the past winters, in the past summers, I have seen it tied to his dock.
Tied to his dock, yes.
Yeah.
But not
Off-season.
backed up where it is now.
And
Well,
when he
it's-
hunts, that's where he
It
hunts.
can't be hunted right now anyway.
No,
I understand that.
The season is only running through
Yeah.
somewhere
Through
around,
March. Through March, through the end of March, right?
it's a certain,
January.
what is it, 90 days or whatever it is, and they have excluded certain weeks out of that. It's after, the week after Thanksgiving, and then they change it pretty much every year, it seems like, but there's only a certain amount of time. But is he actively, when he is shooting from that location, or is it by his dock?
that location. Then he, past off-season, he has moved it to his dock, but this year he did not do it. Because he had,
The other question is, did he get preferential treatment because he has 250 feet of footage?
no,
Did he
I'm
knock someone
aware
else's
of, I mean,
dock down?
I'm just
no.
learning about this today. I want to stop prejudging anything until I've heard from everybody.
No one gets pre-judgment on this or preferred treatment on duck blinds.
Well, 2016,
Everything's by the rule.
right?
Yeah, because if it's not, he catches us.
Right, in 2016.
Yeah, we have to make sure the rules are pretty tight, because there are, issues all over town, and it's a traditional issue, and people that are moving in from out of town are not aware of this, especially in this last year, when people were here during the wintertime and hearing the shooting going off. We got a lot of complaints about it, but this has been a traditional use, and also it's
But
pretty
if
much
he got this
guaranteed.
because of the Blue Book rule,
And you have to understand, if we did not have this system, like Ed will vouch for it, and Eric and myself, we've been here a long time.
Yeah.
And before we established the duck blind rules, it was a free-for-all. Like if you go up west, people who go duck blind up west, you have people waiting in the morning to put their duck blind boats in there. You could have, if we did not have this duck blind area, this area over here, anyone can go there with a duck boat, okay? Duck season-
I'll let
ducks-
my neighbors who have been in here for 40 years, and they can attest whether that's been a problem in our neighborhood or not.
I let you talk,
Okay,
please,
okay.
again,
not-
okay, don't interrupt me.
Okay.
Anyone could come with a duck boat and sit there, okay? That's why one of the
We're
reasons
trying to
we,
ascertain if that's an issue,
What?
and if people are bringing boats in and putting a duck blind. And my
Yeah.
point is that that has not been an issue. No, you have not seen this community come in front of this community or this board.
because we had rules to have duck blinds,
All right,
okay?
I'm getting lost a little bit. You're saying that the duck hunting is not an issue?
No, it is an issue, but, well, no, my point is, what he's talking about of how boats putting a duck blind on their boat and having that boat drive into our community and shoot blinds, like, at least where our little area is, to my knowledge, has not been an issue. I'll let my neighbor speak, who's been there.
Because we have our rules. Ed,
Which is great, and thank you
Hey,
for
Ed.
that. But you've also back.
can you give him some back history on how the duck blinds used to be before, when you first got on it, when your father was here?
Yeah,
And how,
I mean,
how it was a free-for-all?
there were duck blinds, literally, there's only a certain amount of blind spots that are good blind spots. You get a good blind spot, and you would literally have to get up at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning and go down there and hold the spot. And where this gentleman is hunting there right now, he's hunting on our underwater lands. It might be in front of your community. He's shooting away from your houses, which per DEC regulations, as far as hunting goes, is perfectly legal. He's taken a hunter safety course, and everybody that hunts that blind has to take a hunter safety course. So they know the means and the ways of hunting properly. You know, you're saying 6 o'clock in the morning waking you out of bed. Well, that's the nature of the beast being a hunter. You get up in the morning before first light, you set your decoys, and at sunrise, you get to shoot ducks. That's when they move. That's how the hunting works. I've had
That doesn't
several
mean-
people, I've had several people call me in other parts of the town complaining about people waking them up at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday or Sunday because they were hunting. That's what the community that's a heritage of this community. we're hunting and fishing. This is what we were built on.
And I have no
But what-
disagreement with people
Can I-
allowing,
Can I please finish?
but you're giving me a history lesson. I'm not hearing a history class, I'm hearing what I have in the moment now. And in this moment,
But you have to
you have
understand,
duck
what,
line 200 feet
in
from
the past is
house
what
of 10
we have
houses.
today.
Right.
But as long as he's facing out, you could be 2 feet away from a house.
Look, you guys are supposed to
It's-
protect us against stuff like this. If you want to, if, you know, there should be some kind, like, there's no other duck.
This
line.
is not even town rules, this is state rules.
This is state.
And this town doesn't have more rules than the state?
We do.
Of course you do.
And that's why you don't have duck boats in there.
Right. And
You could have 4 duck boats in there.
I will let my neighbor attest to.
Okay, let's have somebody else speak for a while, then you can come back. Let's give everybody a
And I
chance to
just-
speak.
Also, to the point of the permit, is there a reason why the specific language has been removed on its location? You guys are very pointed about there being very specific information around where a duck line is located. This last duck line, location, has got nothing.
I think I can speak to that. That was an IT issue where the box
Okay.
got cut off.
The box?
There's a box in our system in Govern, and it just didn't, it got cut off. It still reads this. It should still read this.
Okay, for the record, why don't you read that location
Yes.
in there?
Sure.
And one other thing, their GPS coordinates are put in specifically for each blind in the town. The bay constables go around during hunting season when these blinds are being actively hunted by the people that own them or have the permits for them. So each blind location throughout the whole entire town has a GPS coordinate that we go by when we issue the blinds.
Permit? Permit number 16NS07, which is the former way that we used to number them, which is now permit number 275, is issued to John Healy, 539 Noyak Road, Southampton, New York, 11968, to place a waterfowl hunting device in North Sea Harbor, northeast corner of North Sea Harbor, behind 539 Noyak Road.
And that's on one that expires August 2021?
Yes.
Okay, thank
I
you.
see that it's not on there. I see what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
that's why I was
So, yeah,
confused by that.
That was an issue with the IT. This year, it will be back on the permit.
Okay.
Okay.
I can understand that.
Okay.
So I guess the fact that they don't have 250 square feet, that's not an issue here?
The 250 feet away
That would
from a
be,
house?
that would be an issue if he, like what you're saying about preferential treatment, is if he bounced somebody out of that spot
And that's-
that already had it.
Is that the case?
Based
It
on-
looks like that's what the case is. Looks like he bounced another duck blind to get this one.
No, the guy who originally had a duck blind up there, he wanted to move down. He had a big space, so he moved way down. Then he gave his space up. And a new duck blind holder has it. Well, did he give it up 2 years ago or last year? I forget.
Sorry.
The guy who he's down by the
In
bridge.
2016, he had to give up his duck blind location.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, well, the guy, he wasn't hunting it, and he gave it up, and a new person got it. And when the new person got it, they moved it down. He wanted to go down where he is now.
Because we have requirements that you have to actively hunt it, so you're
Yeah.
not tying it up just
Right,
for
right.
purposes of stopping duck hunting.
Yeah.
That's why we got rid of that rule with the 250.
Right.
We didn't want it.
That makes a lot of sense. Like, is there, it sounds like, you guys feel pretty strongly that they're legally allowed to be here. Is there some kind of compromise you think that can be made where it's either put on their property, put on their dock, something like that, so it's not as close to our community, but they still, like, if they want to keep hunting, that's fine. We just kind of want it, like, further onto their actual kind of property, not tucked as far away as it can, because he doesn't want to see it. So if there's a compromise there to be made,
I suggest that you go talk to him, and...
we have, he says he doesn't
I
like
mean,
to see it.
in a civil way, because I heard like 3 different stories, 5 different stories from different people. And,
I have never spoken to him.
and if the neighborhood went and say, hey, on the off-season, can you move it to your dock, your float? Maybe he'll do that, okay? We cannot make him do it, because his permit is for that one spot, okay? And, or that area. And, if we make him do it, then, eventually, eventually, if we had an area where we could take the on-off season to the duck blinds, so install the duck blinds, then we could do it, but we don't have that in our blue book yet. Okay?
Is there any vision for this group to kind of contemplate the proximity to other houses? Because you look at the North Sea area, there's 7 or 8 other duck blinds, none of them are near houses like this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
This is like in our backyards.
Yeah, some people choose to take the duck blinds. I have duck blinds around where I live. I have 3 or 4 of them, and
Within,
3 of them leaves
this
them
one
in
is
the water.
within 100 feet of my property
Yeah.
and 180 feet of my bedroom.
Yeah, and,
Are your duck blinds that close to you?
no, but they're close to my neighbors, and 3 of them stay in there, and 2 of them, the people take them out, That's just how they want to take care of their equipment,
Well, we have 2 issues. One, actively hunting, close to you, and second is the storage through the
Anyways,
rest
if
of the
there's-
year.
Yeah.
I'm going to step back.
Yeah, why don't we let some other people talk for a while? Maybe
But
you'll
if-
jog some other comments you want to make.
Any way which you guys think you can help
You can
us?
come up again, just let's hear some other people.
Back again, because Mark has done a lot more research.
Okay, yeah, sure, no problem. No problem, everybody had to say a couple of times.
Shall I sign it?
Yes, please.
Yes, thanks.
And also state your name and your address.
Ruth Olivero. I have,
Could you just pull
If you can bring the microphone down a little bit, too.
yeah, I'm a little short.
No problem.
And I've gotten shorter lately. That's the problem, yeah. Okay. I originally purchased my property on Tower Point Road in 1984. So I'm here quite a long time, almost 40 years now. And what we moved into was a quiet cove, as far as I'm concerned. Not one where there would have been hunting at all. We never expected it in that cove. And we do a lot of kayaking around and about, and we absolutely adore the place we are. We think we have heaven. People used to tell us, oh, it was one of the best kept secrets in Southampton, that area, and it's wonderful. And when we go around in the kayaks, I have seen duck blinds in some of the little estuaries off of the major North Sea, and they're not anywhere where people are living. None of the duck blinds that I ever encountered as I rode around, not that I was on a duck blind inspection tour, we just happened to see them through the years, and I never saw one until this one, which is very close to us, right? When we're out on our dock, it's right there, pointing at us. And I am particularly concerned, even though the view is one issue, it's less of an issue. I have grandchildren, young grandchildren, 6 and 8, who are wandering around on our dock, under supervision, but they move around our area. And I feel the idea of firepower going on right in our quiet cove is very intrusive. I have not been woken up so far in the morning. I don't know why, maybe I sleep more soundly. I have not heard anything as yet, but when I think of it as a possibility, it concerns me for my grandchildren who come and go. I have grandchildren coming in from other parts of the country and others from Brooklyn and New York, and we love for them to have freedom of movement. The idea of a duck blind where there's going to be shooting occurring right near us is very scary, to tell you the truth, and not what we've lived all these years in that cove. They don't even bring motorboats into the cove, actually. I don't know if it's by law, but people quietly come back. We have a motorboat too. They go. We are a fishing family, a very big fishing family. My older son is a marine biologist, and he's an expert on all the wonderful things that there are growing in the area, and he even gives lectures about them. So we're very, very environmentally concerned and loving of that area. And we find this very intrusive. That's all I can say about it. I don't know the legal ramifications as you are dealing with them. That's something I haven't delved into, and I'm sure it's an issue. But I'm talking about the personal issue of loving this cove, which is part of North Sea, and enjoying the environment and having obeyed the rules as we've lived there. So that's about all I can say.
You live there year-round?
No, I don't. I
Just
I
live
live
in
in
the
the
summer?
city.
City?
We come for June through September, pretty much.
So that way you don't even, the reason you don't hear the duck, because you're not there when the duck season's there. It's mainly
That
on
that
Thanksgiving.
probably is
Yeah.
true. But nevertheless, we might come, we're not in residence, but we
Yeah.
do come sometime in the, during the year.
Okay.
But that's about all I can say.
That's the reason they don't wake you up.
They don't wake me up.
You don't have to worry about anybody shooting there right now.
Well, no, not at the moment.
No.
But,
until
but the
after
whole thing
Thanksgiving.
seems like an intrusion into our cove, the way it's been. I don't know how many houses are around that section, but you know what I'm talking about.
It was
That
like,
part, the end of, we have 40, we are the
12.
beginning of Town Point, yeah. And that's, so anyway, that's about all I can say today, and we just feel that suddenly there it was. Nobody told us, nobody did even sent any information around, this is going to be happening, do you have any feelings about it, or such and so. Anyway, that's where it's at. as
So
far as-
the place has actively been hunted since at least 2016,
The what?
on paper,
Yes.
since
That
2016.
wasn't in our vision, I wasn't aware of it, to tell you the truth.
They have to actively hunt at least once per season.
I've not been there to be there for the
If they
hunting.
were moving it off-site,
You can't speak from this, sir. You
Right, I
have to-
just,
you have to go
let
through
her
it.
speak, and then, because it has to be on the record.
Well, I don't know what else I can really say
Okay.
about it. I
Okay.
mean, you're dealing with the fullness of this issue. So we're here appreciating the role of the town, in this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to give you the role of just
From your
somebody
perspective, yeah.
who lives there. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so
thanks
much for
coming.
coming.
Good afternoon. I'm taller. And I should sign in, okay. We have different last names, but I promise I'm her son, one of her sons. Okay, I have learned a lot during this meeting, and I really appreciate it. The history of Southampton has always been fascinating to me from a fisherman's standpoint. I had no knowledge of duck hunting and things like that, so everything you were saying is like, oh, interesting.
We're going by
Historical.
those documents that are hanging on the back wall from
I'll have to
1640.
look at those, because I'm a history buff.
Your name off.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jonathan Coron. Thank you. I am Ruth Omabeho's middle son. I apologize. So I've learned a lot, and I appreciate it from a historical standpoint. My concern, other than for general safety, but it's not a concern because now I know duck hunting is only after Thanksgiving. Terrific. So that wouldn't be a concern
It's
from a...
not every day after Thanksgiving. It's open and closed, it's open and closed.
Okay.
Yeah, it
More
goes for
information.
1 week, and then it's
Yeah.
off for 2 weeks, and then, but it's in like a 90-day period.
I can read the dates if you'd like for this upcoming season.
Yeah, okay. do that.
November
Why don't you do that?
20th to November 28th, and then December 11th to January 30th.
And
Those
that's
are on the
it.
New York
Sean,
State,
can you hand this to him?
they're on the New York State DEC website
Thank you.
every year,
Okay.
the dates.
Right.
Interesting.
So it's not even 90 days.
Oh, great, thank you, sir. So, again, I've learned a lot, and I appreciate that. I guess my only concern, now that I know all these other issues, is simply from a visual standpoint, because I didn't know that the Bay Constable specifically had a GPS site for that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's pretty official. The only perspective I can give you is when I came out here recently, and then I was kayaking around, and I looked back at the new house, and I thought to myself, why is the duck pond, the duck blind in front of our houses from a visual standpoint? When you look at his house, it's like way, way over here in front of us and not in front of him. I mean, if it's off-season, then it should be in front of him and not, if he doesn't like the visual, then he can, I guess, get it moved somewhere else, but he really can't because of the GPS site. So I'm thinking, okay, well then, reasonably thinking, why would we have to have that visual blocking us from, say, our decks, when he's got a tremendous amount of frontage? So, hey, move it over 20 feet, that's all, during the off-season.
So what I'm gathering from this whole conversation is it looks like it's gotten to be a couple of heads butting, and maybe you need an intermediary to go down there and maybe
Between you guys.
getting things straightened out.
Okay,
Okay, but I imagine that, things have been said back and forth.
I'm not aware of these other conversations, because I, live south of here. An intermediary is always helpful, and I think that we would all be reasonable about that. So I guess for my only issue now, again, that I know everything that you've said, is that, hey, if you could just move it so it's not blocking our visual, it's blocking your visual, because it's your duck blind.
How long are you going to be up here for?
Well, our family is here all summer. I'm actually flying tomorrow
okay.
afternoon, but I have a younger brother who will be here all week, and then I have another brother who will be here in August.
Yeah.
So, into part of September, so, please. So,
Because I was going to say, maybe you could go talk, I would go with you, and we go talk to to John, the duck blind, because you seem very even-tempered.
great, that sounds like a great
But you're
solution.
leaving, tomorrow?
Yes, I am, but I'm available by email
Okay.
or whatever, but as I said, my older brother, who has yet a different last name, will be here in August.
Okay.
And again, the issue of reasonableness is always the way to go. I mean, I worked in a prison for 15 years. If you're not reasonable, it's
Yeah, you're
dangerous.
in trouble.
So again, the idea of a mutual respectful meeting, terrific. And I think that from because of the GPS things and because of the history of this area, which, again, I have found fascinating for decades, it is, what you are suggesting sounds very reasonable to me. Because all I think I would be looking for is to say, hey, move it closer to your property. If nobody, we're not here during the off-season, I don't know if Mark is, and that's his issue, but from a standpoint of, hey, you have a new house, we've been out here 40 years, just move your duck blind a little bit further on your property, just so it's a visually not, it's just normally appealing. That we've had the same view for 40 years, and you now have a new house, and now you've taken a duck blind and put it into our visual. I'm like, hey, just move it back a little bit.
Okay.
That's all I
Okay.
would
We
say.
can work on that.
I think we should do that and, see if we can get something resolved.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can do
But-
that. And let me give you my number.
Yes, please. And it's Bill Pell,
Yeah.
okay?
Let me write on a piece
Billy,
of
let him
paper.
stop at the office. and-
Let him stop in the office.
Oh, certainly I
Yeah,
will.
we got
Yeah, we
it.
have
We need
cards.
cards.
Okay, so again, I appreciate your time,
Get my
I
card,
appreciate
too.
the history, it's fascinating, and I hope it all works out. Thank you.
We hope
Thank
so,
you.
too. Anybody else want to speak on the topic? Anything to add?
I mean, I guess just because you seem to think...
Just your name again.
Sorry, Mark Robo, you seem to think there's been some, major confrontation with these people, and the only thing that's taken place, at least from our side, and again, you've got 10 houses here, I don't know who else he's annoyed, but I'm here generally year-round.
What house is yours?
Number 42,
Which is that? Which one is that on the map?
which is...
I'll pull it up. 42 tab.
We have the
point one.
technology.
That one right there.
Okay.
So when they put as they were putting the blind up, and actually, I think my, without even really knowing what she was talking about, my wife had bumped into him somewhere, and that's when he told her that, oh yeah, I'm finally, I've been planning this compound or housing, whatever, for 10 years I've been putting this together, and that's when he mentioned to her that, he wanted, he got, one of the things he got was a duck blind, and he's put in a retaining wall and all that stuff, and that's when he mentioned to her that he was able to get the duck blind off his property, so he didn't have to see it. So that's one interaction. The second interaction is the day they were putting it up, his kids were putting it up, and I said, hey, look, can you just put it over on the other side of the bluff? And they refused, and that was pretty much it. And they called whatever the people that come in and to check to, I'm like, look, this doesn't feel right.
Okay, Bay Constable.
It might have been, they weren't on a boat.
No, they don't have to be.
They have trucks.
And they said, look, according to the permit they have, this is where they can keep it, and that was that. And then when it didn't come down in, I thought it was supposed to come down in April, that's when we started, trying to better understand this process. So, anyways, if there's
I think
there's a compromising
having a
way
third party
that,
involved
that would
is,
just.
maybe
Hey, look,
sort things
maybe-
out.
Maybe put it more on your property. No one's saying that this is just like we're not against hunters, we're not trying to, oppose what they're trying to do, and we fully respect people that want to do that in the community, but this one has just pushed so much into the faces of all the other houses simply because they want to, and that's a little disrespectful, if you ask me. So, anyways, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
All right, well, we'll keep in touch, and if it doesn't get resolved, then we'll have this
You
meeting
guys
again.
are crazy
Okay?
busy with meat cocks and all
No
that
problem.
stuff. so-
Anytime, anybody wants to come in and say anything, we're here. Okay.
Thank you for doing a tough job. It's
Yes.
tough in such an area.
This is Meacock's bag,
Stop
right?
on the way down. Maybe I can get a hold of him before he leaves tonight.
Slightly.
I will, Bill, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay, thanks a lot. You too.
Meet you.
Don't forget your umbrella.
Might be raining.
Okay,
Good call, Ann.
let's get into public hearings. Number one, the public hearing for 65 Cliff Drive LLC, 65 Cliff Drive, Noyak, and the Doug Canal. It was adjourned several times, so I'd like to open up the meeting. I make a
Second.
motion. Scott seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody want to speak in favor or against as a applicant here? Okay, great. You can give us a progress report. As many people know, that we've met with the DEC to try to coordinate, getting this problem solved, so.
Yeah, Madeline Van John representing the homeowner. So yeah, we had a productive meeting with the DEC, and we're working on getting the survey work that we need done to get the plans corrected so that we can get them submitted to the DEC, who is, hopefully will be on board as well, and we'll get everyone coordinated. It's just busy time for surveyors and everyone right now. but we're
Right,
working
we
on that.
understand that.
On every project.
Have they given you any idea of when they could do the job? Because, the DEC has asked for elevations and tidal work and everything, tide ranges and things.
Yeah, I don't have an exact date yet, but I'm hoping it should be pretty soon.
Okay. Do you want to just briefly overview the discussion that we had with the DEC for the public's knowledge there?
Yeah, I
Real
can,
quick.
or you can. Do you want to, or?
You can.
Yeah.
Okay, we can.
Okay.
You can.
No, you can go ahead and do that.
Oh, you?
We had a productive meeting with the DEC.
Yes,
Right, to
yes.
try and move this along in the best interest of resolving this issue, because you need to comply with all regulatory authority permits, and rather than jam this thing up and have it languishing around for years of non-activity, we tried to collaborate and find a successful solution. I think we had a good meeting of the minds, and there were some more requirements placed on the applicant, which you are fulfilling, which required specific measurements and calculations, which is the work of the surveyor, right? And I know on a lot of other projects that we're working on, it's a busy time and they're jammed up, so I understand that. But it sounded to me that everybody seemed to be pretty close to on the same page, if not on the same page,
Yeah.
to resolve this issue. And more to follow, I think, once you complete your formal application to the state. Have you done that yet?
No, not yet,
Yeah, you have
because
to
he
have
did.
it.
I understand you're waiting for this
Yeah,
paperwork.
he did ask us to email him first, so when we email him, we'll forward it to you as
Right,
well.
right, they were very
Yeah,
helpful.
Yeah.
They said to send them your plans, and they would give you the comments. That way, it would streamline the process, and I think make everything kind of synchronize a lot better, so we get this resolved. I think everybody wants to see this resolved. That's my read on this from
Yeah.
your clients,
Yeah.
from the state now, obviously, from the trustees, is to see a fair resolution for everybody. And I think
Right.
we're moving in a very good direction.
There might be a few little tweaks that we have to do, but we also discussed how it's going to tie into the other bulkheads, the location, and basically it was the height issue, and how the reclamation dredging was going to take place. I think that pretty much covers it, right? So it's streamlined, they know what they have to have in cooperation with us, and then they gave the indication that it would move pretty rapidly through the DEC.
Yeah.
Which is unique.
More to follow.
Yes.
Wish everything went through that fast, right? But
I will commend them for meeting us on site to collaborate. I think it was helpful for everybody.
yes. So.
Anybody
Okay,
else?
Thanks. Anybody from the public want to speak on this? Is that enough information today?
No, rare, right? Nothing to come. I think you guys did
Wow.
a great job.
No update on your...
Okay, fine. I'll say something.
Okay. Come on, you have to say so.
Please
You
tell us,
made- you made the trip.
you gotta tell us the update on your stand-up board cruise.
On the what? Oh, you can't get out.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
That's a bad joke, I guess.
Too soon.
Okay.
Womp, womp.
Tiffany Gavin, 53 Cliff Drive. I would like to commend all of you for putting together this proposal and plan, and Ms. Van John, for you and the clients to see that a remediation is necessary, and without you four gentlemen, I don't know really where we would be, and it's very valued and respected, and to see this through is really valued.
Yeah, Eric and Scott worked very hard on it.
He really,
They did.
Scott, to Scott's credit, he saw emails going back and forth, and he picked up the phone and called me, and he said, please just tell me what's going on. And from that moment, I felt like we were in a position to really see what happened and how it happened and how it could have truly been avoided. And it's an unfortunate situation, but I really do believe, with the credit of you trustees, that it's going to be remediated.
Yes.
And it shouldn't have happened, and I appreciate it.
Well, we got to give credit where credit's due also with Mark Woolley from...
Mark Woolley was
from,
amazing.
Mr. Zeldin's
Zeldin's
office.
He was
Really pushing
amazing.
Yeah.
And
They're very good
kind
in
of
that office.
telling the DEC where they should...
I never even
stand.
heard of that whole office before. This gentleman called me every month and checked in just to make sure. And he went down to the site and he saw it was
Yeah,
worse.
he actually came to the site
He
with
was
the
there.
DEC.
He was at the
He said
meeting.
it was worse in person than
Yeah.
the pictures had presented.
Zeldin's office helps us out big time.
Oh, he does?
We work very closely.
We call, I can call Mark, and Scott can call Mark any time of the day.
Yeah,
He was calling on a Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It was
A tremendous
truly
help in the
astounding.
MECOX situation. We got the-
Congratulations on
We got
that.
the permit, the emergency permit granted, and they're opening it as we speak
That's
I had-
great.
today.
A few years back, I had trouble with a project, and Lee Zeldin met me himself up in Riverhead for coffees. Come here, I'm gonna go speak.
Really?
You got me for 20
Yeah, the
minutes.
corner,
The corner, the
Place there, yeah, I was there too.
candy coffee shop in Riverhead.
Wow.
yep.
But
So-
thank you all.
There's people behind the scenes working on this that
was a-
don't really,
Want to know.
say, promote themselves, but
Yeah.
the
Well, I will
Eldon's office
promote
is
Scott
very-
Horowitz
Yeah.
really hard, because whatever you did, Scott, Mr. Horowitz, sorry, you were instrumental in having this come so quickly. And even though it's been 2 years that I've been fighting it, I really don't feel until it got into your hands, and then Mr. Schultz and Mr. Pell and Mr. Warner, that it was going nowhere. So apparently I can't write and praise people at the same time, so,
We solve problems.
All right, well, we're working on it.
Pleasure.
We'll keep you posted.
thank you.
We'll, I guess, adjourn the, if no one else has anything to say.
Oh, I do have
Oh,
a question. I do know that there is like a timing issue, and of course, everything is backed up, but, so the plans that are being worked on, they're being worked on according to what the DEC and the trustees had laid out?
They were instructed to follow those plans.
Okay, so it shouldn't really be a lot of tweaking and back and forth at
Maybe
this point?
6 inches or,
It
couple-
shouldn't be, and that was the
No.
whole purpose. And
That was the purpose, right.
And that's why the folks from the DEC suggested that that she email, and then if there's anything that's out of kilter, they would let him know right away so that it synchronizes very quickly. Listen, when it comes to the environment, we mean business. We really want to see the right thing done, and they really exhibited the same as did the Congressman's office. So when you see people that are collaborating on a solution, you can really get some good results in a reasonable amount of time, and I think that's a great thing. That's what it's all about. Let's all work together to do the right thing, and that's what's going on. I do understand the challenges, because I'm hearing it from a lot of our projects. Surveyors and other folks are backlogged and backed up, and it is what it is. So as soon as that gets done, I know there's some specific calculations and measurements that they wanted, and it's important for that to be correct. So you want a good project, you need good plans. Everybody's cooperating, I think it's going to be fine. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but in the grand scheme of things, I think it's going very well.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
And we could refer to First Coastal's plan that they've prepared as just a check, or no?
Well,
That was back from November.
We're all going to look at this as we move forward. We're going to look at all these numbers. I mean, there was additional discussions there on site, about, perhaps further dredging in that area.
Yeah, we made them aware that
that you-
that was a long-range proposal.
Potential, and they had some suggestions right there on the depths. You don't want to go too deep to get into other types of sediments, because you're going to end up creating maybe more of an issue than a solution. But it's like a separate type of an issue, but everybody looked at it and understood and said, all right, okay, well, you can kind of go in this direction. So you really, I think, have made some friends with everybody that sees what's going on, understands it, and I think, moving forward, it may be a lot easier for everybody. At the end of the day, it'll be a win for the environment and the community, so.
One other question, I guess I did have something to say. Is it going back to -1 foot from 65 cliff, and then the separate part of the shoal is
You know what?
different thing?
We really can't get into that because they're waiting for specific measurements
Right.
and calculations.
Volumes of sediments taken out.
Professionally done by a surveyor, by a licensed surveyor. So they're going to come up with a lot of calculations, and then they're going to move from that. They were very specific on what they directed her to provide, and she's obviously relayed that to the surveyor, and once all that data gets back to them, then the conversation will continue, but until that occurs, we gotta wait.
You got it.
Once a bulkhead's not there, and the DEC is going to say, well, there's alternative methods of preserving the shoreline, like rocks or geotubes or core logs, things like that, but we wanted to address this on more of a global issue of what's going to happen in the future for that whole creek there, and when they were made aware that there's a possible future dredging project, then it had to go back to a hard structure.
Understood.
So all those other soft solutions are off the table right now to restore it back to what it was before.
You're moving in the right direction.
Thank you.
Everyone's just got to do their job.
Thank you. You guys did a great job. Thanks.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else have any comments? Sure, come on up.
I'm not sure if this is the right time, but I'm here about a permit that's actually been approved, and we're on the agenda from the Hampton Point Association.
Oh, no, you'll be up in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just public hearing right now.
All right.
Okay. Anybody else on Cliff Drive?
I just have
Oh,
a
sh-
question, Mr. Schultz.
Sure, you have to step up here, though.
I want to thank you all also for assisting, and to Tiffany for being such a wonderful spokesperson for all of us. Since everything is so backed up, I know we have a new survey which I sent to all the members from 61 Cliff Drive. In the importance of time and whatever, is it possible to be notified when there is something to look at and respond to, rather than every 2 weeks coming to the meetings? Now that they're in person, I mean, it's fine. I mean, my husband just had major surgery, so he couldn't be here today, but he wants to be part of it. If Ms. Van John doesn't get the survey for a month, is it possible to be notified that in a month's time, we have something to look at and respond to, rather than
They
by
come in
coming
here every
again
week.
in 2 weeks, and there's nothing to talk
could
about?
on the agenda.
Well, in the interest of moving things along, it's probably better to keep on adjourning it for each meeting, and then you can check in and see if there's anything new, and then we'll just let you know. And you're saying that I'll request that it be adjourned again. Okay?
Okay, all right, because...
But if we put it off for 2 months, and then a month, and then something comes in next week or something, then we'd like to move it along.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just do it that way.
Perfect, because we want Aram to look at it also and
Right.
respond likewise.
We don't want people to forget about it, you know?
Yeah.
No,
it won't be a
no.
problem. Won't be a problem. I don't think we'll be able to be forgetting about it.
We're not forgetting anything.
No, no.
I may not remember what I ate for breakfast, but this I remember.
Okay, okay.
Can you just state your name for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. Arlen Brody,
you.
61 Clipperville.
Thank you.
Okay, so the applicant have anything more to say? Okay, so I make a motion that we adjourn this to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
August 2nd.
Okay, well, Scott seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, great. Okay, we're going to do applications for permits in a little bit. We have to open up public portion, if anybody from the public has anything to say on any other issue. Anybody have?
Eric, we have another public hearing, don't we? We have another public hearing?
do.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute.
We got another-
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Why don't you sit there for a second? I need a,
Just question,
oh, sure.
Route 24 extension, is that on the agenda?
That's town board.
That's town board.
Not
Trustees.
trustee.
Town trustees, yes.
I don't think that, maybe the town board has a meeting
Town 20, town-
Why don't you go down to
tomorrow
the
night?
personal office and ask,
yeah, right next door, right in the supervisor's office.
and
Thanks
ask
so
the,
much, but you know what, great job, guys.
Okay. We try.
Great job, I mean,
Okay.
You're finding the middle of the road for everybody.
We'll try. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see that on the agenda here. The public hearing, I'd like to make a motion, we open the public hearing on the amendment of the Blue Book, Article 7, Section 53, pier line in designated areas of Sag Harbor Cove.
second.
Ed seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. You're not here for that, right? Okay. So there's nobody here to discuss this from the public.
Eric, I did try to contact Matt Ivins and make an arrangement for a day, but he was busy and I was busy also. I discussed with Ann, maybe her and Matt going down there on another day and contacting me if I could come along, I would. But my schedule's been very busy lately, as has Matt, so that
Did Matt do any depth soundings here?
He-
Because I
yes.
thought he said he was going to possibly do that.
he has not done anything as far as I know
Oh, okay.
today.
Okay. All right.
We'll touch base with him,
So I'd like,
All right, so you make a motion to adjourn it till the next meeting?
yep,
please.
that'd
Okay.
be good, thank you, Eric.
Who's seconding that?
Second.
Ed seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public portion. It doesn't look like anybody here from the public. These are applicants out here, so, okay, we'll move on to regular permits. So Ann's first with 2021-159.
Trustee Resolution 2021-159, application of Kenneth Felderbaum, 132 Mill Pond Lane, Watermill, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 900, 101-103-3-24, body of water, Lake Nowodonna, Mill Pond. This is an application for a new docking facility consisting of an elevated catwalk and a seasonal swim platform. We discussed this extensively at work session, and I'd like to recommend its approval.
Just one, wait 1 second.
You have a question?
Which one are
This
you?
is Hampton Point.
Oh, Hampton Point?
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
go
get down
ahead.
in a minute.
I'll second that, Ann.
Okay, Ed seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
You want to skip to
Yeah.
these ladies?
Yeah, we can skip, that's one of mine, is Hampton Point.
Just make a motion to take it out of order?
Yeah, make a motion to take it out of order.
Second.
Ed seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Let me just find
Okay,
that one.
I really don't think you have to speak on it.
No, I don't think you have to.
Actually, I have a question. So,
Okay, well, state your name for the record.
okay, my name's Marguerite McCarthy.
Okay, and wait, just 1 second.
Just find it.
Let's get it up here.
2021-161, it's page 4.
It's on the back.
61. Yeah, this is for the Hampton Point. They're changing elevation there, right?
61.
Okay, so actually,
Okay, right.
my turn to speak?
Yes.
Okay, so Marguerite McCarthy, I'm the current president of the Hampton Point Association, and I'm actually the person who filed the application.
Okay.
I was advised to file the application, and that's why I did. But my question is, what we're trying to accomplish here is we need to increase the length of the dock support pilings, because high tide now is right under the dock most of the times, and if there's a storm, it's over the dock.
Right.
So we're not changing the materials at all from our original permit that was approved. We're just raising the dock, and we'll still be within code, because the code is the dock deck has to be a certain amount
Right.
above high tide. So I don't want to set a precedent, because we have 4 docks, and if we don't need a permit, I just thought I would come before all the trustees. And I want to thank you all for answering our questions over the years. I mean, you've really, the whole Board of Trustees has been really helpful. But I just don't want to set a precedent with this permit that now we're filing one when we might not have to.
Well, elevation is always a consideration for this board with docks. And I think there was a little confusion on yours at the beginning, because I got some phone calls that said that you were using 10-inch green hearts, 20-footers or 25-footers, which are generally for a permanent dock. So I think that maybe the contractor that spoke to Bob, I think his name is, right?
Well, Bob-
Created some confusion in the system. So
Right. So
that's where like, well, what's going on? You better file, because if this board looks at elevation as a consideration in every application. So
Right, so-
once they did that, it was like, we got to know what's going on here.
So
Right, so Bob
basically, though,
Belushi
this
is our-
this is the same footprint of the dock.
Same footprint, they're just going to go with longer materials, so, and they're going to get it up, because it goes underwater. You have to do exactly
Right.
what you
So
want
you're
to do.
raising it up, so it's
And I
basically a
actually-
modification, it's not a
Well,
total
the only,
rebuild of the thing.
the only thing we're doing is raising the dock so it's
That's it.
above high tide. And I actually took a picture in May, one night when it was high tide, and I can show you that the water is right at the bottom of the deck.
It's
Oh, yeah,
definitely
yeah,
getting
definitely. I
approved.
agree
It's-
that.
It's definitely going to get approved. There's not even
Yeah.
a question. It's just the question is that, do they need to file for a permit, or could they just change the elevation without filing for a permit? And that's a Sean Cambridge question, but
Well,
like I said, there was confusion at the beginning, because they were switching on the phone to 10-inch green hearts, and I was
Right,
like, whoa, whoa.
Well, I don't know if anyone used the word green heart,
Well,
but Bob Diluski is our current
Right.
dock master, and if I could just explain. We had an estimate from our dock builder which specified, it was actually 10 foot on center. And so Bob thought it was a 10-inch diameter for the dock piling.
Oh, okay.
But when I filed the permit, I actually talked to the dock builder, and I asked him to explain, like, well, it was 10 foot on center. 10 foot is the distance between the pilings, because our dock sections are
Yeah.
10 feet
Right.
long. But I filed the permit for a 4x4 dock
We see
piling.
that.
Okay, because it's a seasonal dock.
Correct. We
It
see
comes
that.
out.
Yeah, we see that, we see
Right.
that. So it's.
But it's not a total rebuild of a dock. They have a permit to
Exactly.
put that in and out every year, but
That's-
there has to be a modification to the permit, so you're legal, as far as the height goes, that's all.
Well, but the height is specified in code as being above high tide. So
Right, right.
we're not changing the tide, we're just trying to
you-
stay above high tide.
That's a
Right,
Sean-
no, I understand
Permit
that.
open or closed?
That's a
Huh?
Sean Cambridge question.
What?
Well, when did they last receive this permit?
1960.
It's an old, yeah, it's
a
old.
seasonal
It's valid.
dock.
It's a seasonal dock.
It's allowed to be replaced in and out
Every
in
year.
season.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
just there was
Time,
confusion.
take it out.
I think the contractor got Bob confused, and then he called me, and he was telling me they were going to use some, other type of material that is commonly used in fixed dock applications, and then it created confusion. So either way you want to go, you're fine. It's just, I think it's council's call on whether or not you need to file a modification or a permit or what, but
I think
elevation
think
is
a
as
simple
they replace
modification
a
would be-
seasonal dock, they're just asking to, when they replaced it from last year, to raise the decking of it up a foot or so.
Right.
To keep pace
That's all.
with sea level rise.
So,
Right.
So, and it would be in compliance with our regulations.
And you can't sink the piles any less because of the mud conditions down there.
Yeah, so.
you
I
need
mean,
a certain
each,
depth of
you know,
penetration.
So the dock is there in season, it's pulled out, stacked on the beach off-season, and they're replacing it. So when they replace it in this year, they're gonna just raise the decking of the dock up slightly to keep
I think they got new, I think they got new material. You got new,
But that doesn't matter.
piles, right?
Well, we haven't purchased them yet.
Yeah, but that
But you
doesn't,
want to get longer ones, I thought.
Legally, this
There'll be-
should be a new application. You typically don't allow for modifications on expired permits.
it's not
But this isn't
expired.
expired, this is a seasonal
This is
permit
legal.
that it goes on in perpetuity.
They get taken out every year and
Yeah.
put back.
They've made applications, so it's all a matter of whether or not you want to let them do it and refund their application fee, or leave it as it is, as,
I think it's just a simple modification, just to have them legal. You know, that they're a certain amount of
They have a
height above the
seasonal
water.
permit that runs in perpetuity.
Okay.
They're
Yes.
just asking to change that elevation,
That's it.
which, I mean, I would be perfectly fine with it, just allow them to do it.
Modification.
Because they're not making it any bigger, they're not making it, changing it. They're
Well-
just increasing the height somewhat.
And we have to replace pilings all the time. They
Right,
rot.
no, that's,
consideration.
goes with the seasonal nature of docks. That's a common thing. Because of their, if for some reason, climatic conditions, or you don't get it out in time and it busts it up, the ice busts it up or something like that. Yeah.
The reason they take the dock out, because in the wintertime you have ice, and it pulls it up, so that's why if you listen over the year, seasonal dock, non-seasonal, seasonal dock, you have to take it out to the ice damage, because where they are is a lot of ice damage.
So we don't get,
Not last winter, but, previous winter, they have big icebergs will come in, will build up on the beach, would just
Right.
cut it right down. That's why it's seasonal.
Right, I got that.
Yeah, it's kind of a different animal, because if you had a regular fixed dock,
Yes.
and you started replacing piles, then you need a permit.
Yeah.
But on a seasonal dock, it is taken for granted that some of these permits could be 50 years old, and they got brand-new material. Well, that's just the way it is. Things get replaced because they have to take it out, stored upland. Some things break, some things rot more because you have fresh water on the poles now.
Right.
So then it's a matter of course that, things get rebuilt over the years without a permit, as long as they stay within the same specifications as they originally had. So with this situation, it's basically you're
change
just raising it up a little
What,
bit.
what's the date of the original permit? 1960.
Yeah, it's 1960.
Yeah, so this is standard.
So whatever
Course of
whatever
action.
council says.
Permits by definition expire at some point, so to have it in perpetuity,
Well, I don't know about,
I-
if there is
I could
a
potentially
rule
be
on
challenged on
trustee
it.
stuff.
I would defer to council, and you know what?
Well, what is it, that's the first I'm being made aware of that permits expire.
Seasonal docks.
Because we've had some instances in the 20s.
so
That permit's 61 years old, same age as me.
Well,
the board wants to take, your past practice into consideration, you certainly can do that. I would advise for a new permit, just because if you go to sell your home in a practical sense, or I guess this is a homeowners association.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it probably won't come in as much for you, but it could be something that shows on a title report as an older and expired permit.
Well, I would think that owing to
In a home,
past instances in that community, I would think that, with the litigation that you've had in the past, I don't know whether you're familiar with that.
I am.
Yeah, okay. So it would probably be best to not have anybody find a chink in the armor, so to speak, and have your permits all up to snuff, So I would advise the board of a modification to the permit to allow for, like say if someone has a dock that has 4x6s on the end and they want to put 2 brand-new piles on there, we issue a modification. We don't issue a whole new
Right.
dock permit.
Right.
This is simply raising it up due to climatic conditions beyond your control.
It's on the agenda for approval today, so it's all a matter of what it is that you want to do and what council feels maintains consistency and best protects the association and the board.
well,
fine with me.
so I'm not here to protect the association.
Well, the board.
I'm here to protect.
Well, you mentioned to them that they'd be better off in title reports and whatnot.
Okay, so you're setting a precedent for us. I mean, we have four docks in our association.
Right.
And, this is the first time it's come up to me that these permits might ever expire.
That's new to me too, so I'm not aware
Are
of
they-
anything like that. If there's any state statutes that say that with a trust, I don't know.
Are they
You know,
expiring or not?
I think, well, you know what, I'm going to make a suggestion. I'm going to make a suggestion that we hold this over till the next meeting to give us some time to thought
Yeah, because
about
you have
this.
you got your docks in now,
Okay.
but at the original level, right?
Yes.
So you haven't purchased this yet.
Right.
So let council,
Yeah, we can do some research.
let council do his research. That way, the board maintains and complies.
You're in,
with
there's
everything.
no rush.
It's all going to be
Right.
fine. It's all a matter of what's the best way to handle it.
It's not going to be fine if we have to file for new
I
permits.
understand.
So, for all 4 docks, that's going to really be a hardship.
You can do one permit for all 4 docks. You don't-
Excuse me?
Each dock don't need a permit, you can do one permit for, does all 4 docks.
Just doing permitting, though, is going to be a big
It
issue.
is,
I know that.
it's a lot of paperwork,
It's not only paperwork.
yeah,
There's a lot more to it than that.
yeah,
No,
No, we understand.
Yeah.
we understand.
So, and I just don't want to, I mean, first I wanted to understand if I really needed a permit, and
Right, well,
I don't want to set a precedent.
There's just some confusion because of the piles that the
Okay.
application was filed, whatever it is.
So
Okay,
what
that's
do
why
we?
it's
Well, no,
not
he
to
was,
this
he was
point.
originally talking about 10-inch
Right,
greenhouse.
that's, right, and that would constitute a
Right.
permanent fixed pier. That's different from what you have
Right,
down
and
there.
and elevation changes, which this board always looks at elevation changes on everything. So,
And
and
that
then
stems from
councils.
someone not knowing that 1 dash means a foot, and 2 dashes mean inches.
Okay, well, we'll get it resolved.
No, that's
Okay.
okay.
So the best thing to do is let us talk about it.
Okay.
Put this on hold till the next meeting. Okay, we'll be in contact with you.
Eric, there was
Okay.
dozens of docks in my area back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s that were seasonal docks. And I know in my tenure on the board, we've have gotten away from it because of the DEC not wanting them to disturb the bottom.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of the homeowners want permanent docks. They like these big fancy docks, and it's more of a statement. But there are still at least 3 docks in my area in Hampton Bays that are seasonal docks, similar to what you have, and they put them in and out every single year. And as stuff breaks, they just keep replacing it. And it was always my understanding that, and I think that's why we got away.
Well, that's why we have the entire length of Dune Road in West Hampton as seasonal docks.
Yeah.
Because if we had allowed permanent docks, every house would have a dock along that whole stretch. But if you have seasonal docks and those houses change hands so often, that maybe the next owner doesn't want a boat. And now he's got this monstrosity of a dock that they're not maintaining, and it's fallen into disrepair. This way, only the people who really want to have a dock put the dock out that year. So you maintain some sort of like balance there. There's not too many going in. So, depending on how many people like to have a dock.
Well, also, when our properties were developed, some of these docks are on easements that were
Yes,
built into
right.
the original declaration, and
That's
it's,
why you didn't get your roads fixed for years, because of the tremendous lawsuit down there on that easement.
right.
Right.
But, the purpose of the easements is to have access to the creek, and if you're going to have access to a creek, you would need a dock
Right.
in order to
Right.
enjoy the water, and that's the purpose of the easements.
Mhm.
So the next meeting is August 2nd?
Yep.
All right, okay, great.
yes.
All right, I'm glad you're going to consider,
Yeah, let
Whether-
Sean Cambridge do his work.
He needs something else to do.
We're very familiar with
Do you
it.
need
I
any-
live in East Quogue. I'm very familiar with the area.
okay, do you need anything else from me, or am I dismissed?
I wouldn't say
You're-
dismissed, but
you're dismissed.
You're free to go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so you want to make a motion to table this?
Definitely, I'd make a motion to table,
Okay.
pending the town attorney's,
Bill Pell seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's go back to the regular agenda then.
It's you, Ed.
This was Ed with 160.
Trustee Resolution 2021-160. It's a renewal application of permit number GP 000062 for Robert Latch, 13 Wells Lane, Hampton Bays. Suffolk County Tax Map 900-321-04-19, body of water, Wells's Creek. Nothing has changed since the last application was approved, so I recommend its approval.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Let me skip that one, and next, Resolution 2021-108, Shore Solutions with Donna Myers, 152 Dune Road Realty LLC on Moneybow Bay. I make a motion that this be approved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ed's next.
Trustee Resolution 2021-162, issued to permit to East End Clam Bakes, Inc. for beach event located at Dune Beach, Southampton Village, on July 23rd, 2021, from 6 to 10:30 p.m. We made sure the plovers are taken care of and everything is good, so I recommend its approval.
Second.
Second on it.
All in favor? Aye. Scott
Aye.
seconded that.
Trustee Resolution 2021-163. This is an issue for a permit to East End Lobster Bakes Incorporated for a beach event located at Flying Point Beach and Watermill on July 17th from 7:30 to 10:30. We have also stipulated that there be a plover monitor and restricted the access for vehicles and asked for a hose in case of fire in the dunes. I'd like to recommend its approval.
Second.
Ed seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2021-164. This is to issue a permit to Hampton Clam Bakes Incorporated for a beach event also located at Flying Point Beach and Watermill, July 23rd from 6 to 11 p.m. Similar stipulations with this concerning plovers, beach driving, the hose, and that all refuse be removed from the beach location. I'd like to recommend its
I
approval.
have a question on this. It says hose, where did you get the water from?
I don't know that. The pavilion? How has it been dealt with in the past? Because last year, there were no beach events due to COVID. So
Okay.
what was done
Well,
previously?
Who put, I never heard of it, when they have a hose.
Oh.
The second one the first one you had, it said hose, and I was trying to think, where did you get the water from? And we went too fast, so I decided to ask you on this one.
Sorry.
It's okay.
This was...
We should know where, if it says
Yeah,
a hose,
who,
who put the
who
hose
put it in
in,
there?
where it's coming from.
I would imagine, since this was Trustee Stafford's area, that was something that he asked for. But I don't know the answer to that. There is water, certainly, at the pavilion at Flying Point, but as far as a
Well-
hose,
Either pavilion or the buckets.
Well, if that's the case, and if you're worried about fire, then they should have maybe a water fire extinguisher or something on hand.
what have
Yeah.
you done in the past?
I've never heard of it.
We never dealt with this before. They would just put the fire out, probably with sand and water
Mm-hmm.
from the ocean.
Yeah, we've got plenty of water at the ocean right
A
there.
watering hose could just be a bucket, right? It doesn't specifically say
hose is a
connected
hose.
to water, though, right?
Yeah, but it's useless to have a hose, it's not gonna be connected to any pressure source.
Yeah.
I mean, usually what they do is they get, to put it out, they get a bucket and go down to the ocean and get some water.
A bucket brigade, literally. 3 or 4 people carrying buckets and dump it on there and then
I'm
shovel
sure
some
they don't
sand.
wanna,
So do we
Grass
change the language?
I would take it out.
We,
You can move to amend it. In addition, some of these people may need special event permits from public safety. The ones within the town will. Their events open to the public, so they're going to have to apply for that. And they'll check on fire safety to see if they need any of that. So if the board wants to amend and...
I think we let them worry about that. It's good to take that out.
So we should go back to
So-
the previous one and take the hose out of that one, too.
Yeah.
okay. So can I go back to 163 right now?
Well, let's do this
Well,
one.
let's do this one
Okay,
first.
so I'd like
Arm and
to
legalization.
amend,
What are
It
they
doesn't
gonna,
really matter.
it's not,
You leave it, it allows for it. It doesn't,
Yeah.
you can't have it.
it doesn't mandate it.
What do you suggest?
So the only reason, if we just leave it in, Dawn, and if someone complains that they don't have a hose,
Yeah.
I think it's
If they have
onerous.
on-